The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
A point of view perspective of what you may have missed this past Sunday. That's young Pedro Ildefonso sharing his GoPro video with us as he hooked up with his first ever surf striper. Now, Pedro's caught him by boat and pier, but this madness in the surf continuing into Ocean County over the weekend, it allowed this young hardcore angler and many others like him to get a taste of stripers from the sandy beaches. Now, this blitz, if you will, has passed, so I think at this point I can share the essentials at this point. Yeah, it was Point Pleasant, though truth be told, this amazing bite pretty much spanned nearly the entire Ocean County stretch from Point to Seaside and many of the spots in between. December 4th, that was the day of this blitz. That was also National Sock Day. I ain't kidding, man, that's what it was, National Sock Day. So that's the Sock Day Blitz of 2022. And yeah, coincidentally, I scored. Honest to God, I caught a sock on a plastic shad on the beach last week. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. It's December 8th and the fall run continues here along the Jersey Shore. Primarily, as we've said in the last couple of weeks, primarily Ocean and Monmouth counties at this stage of the run, but I do have a few tasty morsels coming up, bits of information to share with you from off of Atlantic and Cape May County as well in the past week. Now, it's been insane to say the least. I said something to my friend Nick Cicero recently. I said, this is like the best fall run I've seen here at the Jersey Shore in 25 years. And Nick, who's got some salt in his socks, he says 50. So I'll take his word for it. But that bunker busting along the beaches, blitz conditions this past Friday, Saturday through the rain and wind, and also on Sunday, since our last report, has brought folks to the beach in droves. What's really special to see are all of the young anglers in the midst of this all. I bumped into Brian Lawrence and his father on Sunday in Point, watched this young man with a braid slash in his finger, bleeding like a stuck pig, while he's still putting the boots to fish after fish. And yes, Brian had his first ever surf striper on Sunday. A regular viewer each week, I couldn't be happier for. And this expression says it all. Matthew Schlosser took a photo of his son, Vance, buttoned up to a beach bass over the weekend. This photo comes by way of my buddy, Tom Lynch, Angry Fish Gallery in Point Pleasant. Here's a tip for you. If you stop by the Angry Fish Gallery and there's a sign on the door that says out to lunch and it's 3 o'clock, there's a good chance it's going on somewhere. Swim shads, of course, we continue to hear about that. Tsunami swim shads, the NLBN, no live bait needed. Kettle Creeks on a jig head. Also the Z-Mans, the diesel minnows. Talk about that in a minute. But I also spoke to Kyle at Fisherman Supply in Point this week as we were doing our fishing reports for thefisherman.com. He offered a great reminder. Metal lips, too, cannot go wrong. They often rule the roost, especially in a situation where it's not just the peanuts blowing up right there in front of you, but outside the schools or on the edges of the schools after the bait has moved past and has gotten picked off. Because that enticing wobble of a metal lip often is better than anything else. In fact, Phil LaGrossa's 9-year-old son Nicholas caught this good fish on a metal lip, totally by himself from cast to land, and ultimately the release as well. I spoke to Rich at Jersey Hooker Outfitters on Route 88 in Brick this week. He said it's hard keeping swim shads and bucktails and plugs on the pegboards. They're flying off of the shelves. He had Chris and Casey check in. They combined for over 60 stripers at Point Pleasant Beach on Sunday the 4th, and they did bring a pair home for Sunday dinner. And it's not just the kiddies, of course. I love to see the young ones in the mix getting onto their first fish, but some of the big boys are in the mix as well. Greg Hewitt left the big Mohawk deck to come down into Ocean County over the weekend, got into some fish. Of course, that boat and so many others in the Belmar area continue to get in on the tog, the offshore sea bass and porgies, and striped bass as long as they're around. By boat, did hear from Captain Jim Frieda out of Manasquan. He's been lighting them up. He had an epic day on Sunday, he told me. So are the other captains who are running out of Manasquan and Barnegat, even Beach Haven during this striper run right now. But Noah Sansalone was out with Captain Jimmy off of Maniloking over the weekend. They had fish up to 42 inches. They were throwing Mad Manus planks, JP lures, and Jigging World Dock spooks. So again, those top waters working as well. But it was the blitz on the beach that brought folks from far and wide on Sunday. Tyler Eek, Bill Garcia, Greg Beatty, and Joe Casal said they were just south of Point with thousands and thousands of fish and fishermen. Said the peanuts, well, the peanut bunker, they were covering the beaches, washing up all over the sand. Smaller swim baits, 5 to 6 inch were best. Joe said he recommended the Z-Man Diesel Minnow, those little silver paddle tails. Beautiful baits. I use them myself on jig heads. Just want to advise you, when you're using the Z-Man plastic baits, keep them separated from all of the other baits that you have, because the Z-Man plastic baits are made with a special process. They don't get along with the tsunami swim shads, for example, or your finesse fish. Come Monday, however, we're talking about Sunday and Saturday and Friday. Come Monday of this week, folks who couldn't hit the beach on Sunday, couldn't get out there into that madness, they showed up looking for a mad dog bite. Light offshore winds all day on Monday. My friend John was in from Palmyra with his son on Monday. I was texting him some ideas, go here, and John said he found nothing, and I felt bad. I nearly said those 3 immortal words. It's over, Johnny.
It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
But you don't turn it off, because the very next day I did see where Chris Smith shared a photo on the Betty and Nick's Facebook page saying it was full on in Ocean Beach. He said Ed here watched Chris catch a fish, came up and said, hey buddy, what are you doing? Chris said, put on a plug. Right? Take off that swim shad. So sometimes those swimming, those Finnish style plastics, the Yozuris, the SP minnows. Well, 5 fish later, Ed beached this fat 39-inch striper. Nice job, Ed. But even better job, Chris, because just sharing this information and advice on the beach is probably as rewarding as catching the fish yourself. But again, after the entire month of November blitz conditions, all-out blitzes, just about anywhere or everywhere from Sandy Hook to Island Beach, the first few days of this week do leave me wondering if the epicness of it all is indeed over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is.
But it's not over. And hopefully it's just begun for folks in Atlantic and Cape May County. Surf-wise, yeah, I don't know what to say. Parents always said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. My brother, as I talked about last week, he hit Corsons over the weekend. Didn't find anything. Actually, he called me on Sunday. He also joined the run up here in Ocean County looking for fish on Monday, but didn't find any. He traveled north from Cape May County just to get in on it. But at Corsons, Mike Martella shot this video over the weekend as one of the ever hopeful South Jersey fishermen, surfcasters in particular. Found birds putting on an absolute show about 150, 200 yards off the beach, a little far out of reach, of course, but hopefully a sign that fish will hug the coast instead of drifting off to the southeast inside the line. Watch for some more of those offshore days. There's still bait coming out of the inlets, not as much. Smaller peanuts, but hopefully those smaller peanuts mixed with the 6-7-inch cupcakes and also some adults. So it's still a mix of bunker running down the beach. And hopefully somewhere along the line in South Jersey, we may see some of those blitz conditions, even quick hitters. Not like the sustained bite we've had in Ocean and Monmouth County for the last month, but let's hope something happens. From Andy at Riptide Bait and Tackle, frustration there as everyone else in Atlantic and Cape May counties hoping for these blitz conditions seemingly end at Barnegat Inlet, the invisible barrier we talked about. Well, Greg Marr Charters had the Giuliano crew out for a little high school reunion, boating 3 overs on a flutter spoon that they got from Andy at Riptide. But the best report that I had in the past week comes from Captain Len Andalis of the Francesca Rose out of Cape May. He shared this. His buddy Brian Rich caught his first fish ever on Len's boat this past Sunday, somewhere off of Hereford Inlet, Cape May County. Captain Len, who, as you remember, he owns the state cobia record in New Jersey, he said the photo doesn't do this fish any justice. He said 65 plus pounds. This mighty beast of a striper was released to reward possibly another angler in the future, and hopefully in Cape May, or even Delaware. Did also find out from the folks at Sea Isle Bait and Tackle. They got out this week. The only problem was finding a fish small enough in the slot to bring home for dinner. There was a 37-incher though coming home. But again, going fishing with your son and great friends is what it's really all about. Again, I want you to pick up the December edition of the Fisherman magazine. It's in newsstands right now. Mike Wayne on the cover with a nice striper, but we have more information on that December striper run by boat, especially. I mentioned Captain Jim Frieda before. We still have other baits in the mix. We've talked about bunker, peanuts, and adults, but we're getting reports of squid in some of the inlets up on the Raritan Bay. We're also getting reports of some butterfish in some of these bass bellies that have gone home. And I do have a couple of reports here and there, a smattering of sand eels. They're coming from LBI, Island Beach, a couple of folks convinced, and the northern stretch up around Sandy Hook. So maybe in the next week or two, who knows? We might even get a sand eel run as well. But if you read that article by Jimmy Frieda, he's talking about herring as well. And that's when some of the jumbos are really in. Of course, in that December issue, we also have our annual holiday gift guide with great ideas for anglers, items mostly available in your local shops and outfitters this season. If you're like me at home, we get these holiday gift guides from everybody. Hammaker, Schlemmer, this one, what is this? This is the Sharper Image. Yeah, everybody needs a foot massager, right? Foot massager, you want something that's in our holiday gift guide, man. A brand new Penn reel or a St. Croix rod. So pick that up, dog ear the pages, leave them around the house, and maybe somebody will get you what you really want this holiday season. We also have our own holiday shopping area. That's online at thefisherman.com. It's brand new. It's open for those of you looking for Fisherman branded apparel. Brand new hat. It's weathered. This is actually good because I can put my old Billy Baru, the one I've had weathered 20 years, I can put that on a shelf, my brand new weathered looking Fisherman hat. And look for me in the surf this winter. We've got our branded caps as well. Nice stitching there. So if you want to get something from our holiday gift shop, you can go find it at thefisherman.com. Of course, a lot of folks give a Fisherman subscription for the holidays, $29.95 for the year. That includes all 12 monthly editions of the magazine and the 26 digital weeklies during the height of the season. Of course, being a Fisherman member also means entry into our annual Dreamboat Fishing Challenge. So let's check in with Tim on the latest in these final hours in the race for a brand new Steiger.
Bill DaCosta from Massapequa, New York gains points to keep him in fourth place with a 4.55-pound sea bass entry, but not enough to overtake the third place contestant Rob Carazano. Remember, past grand prize winners Sam Dibner and Garrett Weir, who have more points than Rob, are not eligible to win the first place prize a second time. So at this time, Rob Carazano is in line for a possible win. We'll see if any additional entries surface by the end of the cutoff date of December 10th. Ahmad Solomon weighed in as 15.1 blackfish for the fourth place blackfish position. More to come as the excitement that is the Dreamboat continues.
Porgies, sea bass, and tog. We'll check the latest reports from thefisherman.com right after this visit with my buddy George, the Pocono Outdoors guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, guys, we've been talking for a couple weeks now not to give up on this open water bite. Yes, the ice is coming. It'll be here and probably in a few weeks we can get out in that hard water. But for right now, we do have some really good open water fish, and I want you guys to take advantage of. Like over in New Jersey, angler Ken Bean, he was out fishing some of the lakes up there in northern New Jersey, and he got himself into a nice little largemouth, a 5.5-pound largemouth. You usually don't think of lunkers like that this time of year, but you put your time in. It's going to take a little bit longer than it normally would. This isn't a spring bite, but you can get yourself into some great fish. He also got himself into a 16-inch crappie. Not bad. I'll take them all day long for sure. Now, if you go over to the Susquehanna, we've been talking a lot about the smallmouth bite. You know, the cold water fish we've been constantly harping on. Well, our favorite FLW Pro co-angler, Glenn Key, well, he was out there giving those smallmouth a try, and look what he got a hold of. Some really nice smallmouth out there, chunky. Just got, again, keep putting your time in there. It's going to take a little bit longer, but it will pay dividends. Finally, the Delaware River, one of my favorite places. We've been talking about fish there. We got the stripers still hanging around, muskie, smallmouth. Eric Fissler, also known for his shad fishing contest, out on the Delaware, got himself into a beautiful little muskie here. This is another thing, guys. This is the season, this cold water season, for all these big predatory game fish. So there's lots of fishing out there. The ice is coming, I guarantee it. Just hang in there a few more weeks. But until then, get out on this open water and get some fish. Hope you guys get out on them. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
From the Pocono Lakes to the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, let's check in with my friend Captain Ben Gilmore from Jackpot Sport Fishing, Marina Pez Vela in Capos, Costa Rica.
Hey there guys, and welcome to the Marina Pez Vela here in Costa Rica with this week's fishing report. The Dorado fishing down here, mahi-mahi, has been absolutely insane. We just caught our biggest Dorado of the season the other day, 56 pound and 71 inches, an absolutely world-class fish. The marlin fishing's been really good as well, mainly blue marlin, a few striped marlin as well, and a few sailfish showing. The tuna bite has been insane also. Lots of tuna in the 30 to 50 class with a few bigger fish also. Would love to see you guys down here in Costa Rica. Come and check us out, Jackpot Sport Fishing. Back to you guys.
I heard from Denny Joyce this week, who let me know of a 5.38 pound, 22 inch tog he caught earlier this week outside of Barnegat Inlet. I think there's a lot to be said about the warmer water temperatures and these stripers sticking around for so much longer. I mean, I've talked to Billy Veldoff the other day. He was like talking about 50-degree water temperatures up around Belmar. It's still warm. This time of year, it should be down into the 40s. But I'm wondering if that warmer water is also what's leading to more tog that are still on the jetty rocks and the nearshore wrecks. But in gathering reports at thefisherman.com this week, those blackfish are starting to move east a bit. And remember, we have that action with us throughout the month of January for folks who want to line the rails. So plenty of headboats are still going to be sailing as of January 1st. It could be jumbo porgies, it could be some ling trips, but of course those blackfish trips are what carry folks along through these winter months. And while folks down in South Jersey might redirect from tog and black sea bass to some of those stripers inside the line, it's possible that more of the headboats in the northern stretch now start refocusing attention on sea bass, porgies, and blackfish. Now, Lewis Harbor's Friday catch of the day was aboard the Katydid, Jim Osborne and his crew from the Lewis Tog Club. They had a great day with 27 tog, 8 sea bass, including 3 citation fish. There's 15-year-old Alex Osborne, dressed for success and warmth, landing this nice 7.35 pound tog. There are, as I said, plenty of headboat options in the state of New Jersey right now if you want to get in on the December togging. The Starfish fleet out of Sea Isle, the Osprey out of Atlantic City. I know Captain Sam on the Mary M4 out of Barnegat Light is sailing for stripers and tog, while the Miss Barnegat Light this weekend, look for her probably to be sailing for striped bass as well. Same as we head back up into the northern stretch. If we're heading out of Manasquan and Belmar, those boats are going to be hitting those offshore wrecks for jumbo porgies and sea bass. But if you want more information and all the details, I would encourage you then to pick up that December edition. In the middle of the magazine are all of our latest fishing reports, but you also have a whole coastal rundown of all the boats, all the tackle shops up and down the New Jersey shore, where they're sailing at, or where they're sailing from, what they're sailing for. So again, pick up that December issue. It does make a great gift idea for the new year as well. News, events, fisheries management and conservation, how-to, where-to articles. We are wrapping up our 50th year of fishing here in the state of New Jersey, the New Jersey Delaware Bay region, and I'm honored to say I've been a part of it for most of the past 20 years. It's about as old as that hat is. Another great group I'm part of is the Long Beach Island Surf Fishing Classic, and the Old Derby is celebrating 68 years in the LBI Suds. There are only a handful of days left in that tournament, so if you're registered, get out on the beach. At this point, a 19.9 pound, 37 3/8 inch striper, bunker chunked in North Beach by James Warbitz last week, is the one to beat in these final days. But you do have some daily cash prizes, daily prizes, all kinds of great stuff. But it does seem like there are some plug-in and bait chunking opportunities along the LBI stretch this week. One thing that I did find on Monday, I sneaked out for about an hour at dusk. And even if you're not seeing those blitz conditions, what we're left with is now some of that structure fishing, right? Throwing SP minnows and Yazuris, standing with a couple of buddies, we picked off a couple of fish in the wash. So maybe some of the blitz conditions have passed us by, but maybe we'll see more. And it certainly doesn't mean that the fall run is over. We're not even at the official start of winter, and the striped bass are still feeding hot and heavy. So get out there and enjoy it. I will tell you, as you're watching this video forecast on Thursday, December 8th, I'm on a plane to Florida for a gray fish tag research meeting on Friday. What does that mean? Well, if you saw my tease video on our Fisherman Facebook page last week, as I was in a truck on the road to a meeting, it all broke open. So who knows? The mice could play, because this black cloud is not going to be anywhere near you for this next couple of days ahead of you. Don't forget your holiday shopping over at thefisherman.com. Hats, caps, t-shirts, coffee mugs, and of course gift subscriptions. Catch them up. I'll see you again next week right here at The Fisherman, and of course, thefisherman.com.